Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44. So, I know Chicago Bulls fans and Timberwolves fans and Wizards fans are not going to like the take that I'm making here. But I think with all the super teams that are being formed in the league right now, I look and say the one thing that I want to see in regards to super teams is guys who have not ever had any success because they've played in bad situations come together to form a super team. I don't care where they do it. They can do it in a big market, they can do it in a small market, it doesn't matter. But I want to see guys who have been in bad situations, never won anything, probably been in the league for longer than 7 years and have never really had success. I want to see them come together and form something like the Nets and the Lakers are doing right here. Karl Anthony Towns, Bradley Beal, and Zach LaVine. Now, they would need a lot more than that, of course, to make it a super team or whatever, but that could be a really, really fantastic core. Um, who's going to play point guard, who's facilitating, you'll have to figure that part out. But scoring, obviously, would never be a problem. Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine, it's 100 points right there. Karl Towns goes 150 points right there. So for me, when I think about who and how the NBA should try to go about managing super teams, I don't think we should try to abolish super teams. I don't think you should try to stop players from teaming up and stuff like that. I actually think it makes the league much more intriguing when you have these teams like the Nets and the Lakers and the Clippers and the not Celtics. Although the Celtics could kind of not really, but when you have super teams like that, it does make for an intriguing and exciting league. Unfortunately, a lot of times when super teams come together, it's usually players who've already done some winning coming together to win some more, or in like KD's case, a guy going to a place that's already been winning in hopes of riding their coattails. With all due respect, of course, but that's usually how those things are put together. But you rarely see guys who are like at the bottom of the league come together and like really, really give themselves an opportunity to succeed. Like I would have loved to have seen players do that in the past, like way back in the day. Who were players that come to mind? Like Mitch Richmond, Rolando Blackman, and like who else was on the bad teams back in the day? Players like that, you know what I mean? Danny Manning or something like that. Players that just never got a chance to really take off into super duper Hall of Fame stardom because they literally played for horrible franchises, bro. And it's been a million of those guys. And the guys that come to mind quickly are the three names that I've already mentioned in this era: Zach LaVine, Bradley Beal, and Karl Anthony Towns. They're just in bad situations. Their careers are not going to head in the direction that their talent demands and deserves because those guys are in bad situations once again, I'm saying. So, yeah, I would love to see, like in my perfect scenario, like just for an example, the NBA does an expansion team, brings Seattle back their squad, and then those three guys go to Seattle and form a super team. Like that's what I'd like to see. That's the type of NBA I'm talking about. Because really, the Seattle Supersonics won what? One championship in like 70 something, 70, who knows? And that was it. Or did they win two in that era? I think they won like two. They probably won one year and then like skipped a year and won another, and that was like the end of their tenure winning. Something like that. Seattle was always a fantastic franchise, though. You never accused them of being a crappy franchise. They always kept a competitive team on the floor. They always had Hall of Famers on the floor. They always had guys that could compete, role players. They were just a solid franchise. They had a solid fan base. Even though they did have their attendance issues here and there, we know Seattle shows up for their teams. We see how the Seahawks went down. I mean, you know what it is. So at this point, it's like I want to see Seattle get their team back, and I want to see them get paid back for not being a part of the OKC dynasty era, because they drafted KD, had him at his rookie year. They won like 5 games, and then everybody goes to OKC and makes the finals next year. So I just felt like Seattle and their faithful fans deserve not only to have their team back, but to have an opportunity at something special. Golden State, I've witnessed Golden State in my lifetime turn into a dynasty. That was one of the most improbable things in all of sports as I was a youngster. Growing up, Golden State, bro, I remember being in my grandmother's house in Oakland, probably like 1990 freaking, throw a year out there, who knows what year it was, probably like 94. And I remember reading the paper, and it had already been some time. No, that doesn't seem right. Maybe it was like 98 or something like that. Because I started watching basketball in 94, so let's say 98, 99. I'm sitting in my grandmother's living room, the paper up to my face, before devices and stuff like this. I had the paper in my hand, looking at the standings, and the Golden State Warriors were the very last team in all of basketball that year. And they had been the very last team the year before, if I remember correctly, and they had been bad the entire time I'd been watching basketball, and it didn't get any better for a very long time after that. And I remember sitting up with my cousin, who's a lifelong Golden State Warriors fan, sitting there, and he was telling me, our day's coming, man. We suck right now, but trust me, y'all Lakers is doing good. So it had to be somewhere in the 2000, now I think about it, because we had probably just won a championship. So it was probably like 2000. He said, y'all just won the championship, but we gonna have our day. Watch, you gonna see. And I remember laughing at him saying, nah, that's not gonna happen. That'll be when hell freezes over, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward to 2021, he got like 3 rings. Like my cousin's a 3-time NBA champion. So anything's possible. That's what I'm saying. In the NBA, even though a lot of things are improbable, your team could be the next one to have a dynasty. Who saw the Brooklyn, New Jersey Nets having a dynasty? You really think maybe 5-10 years ago, when you looked at the Nets franchise, even when they first made it to Brooklyn, and they were running around with the owner that they had, the Russian guy that bought the team, for talking about he gonna put together a championship team overnight, and they did all that dumb stuff with the Celtics players. Yeah, that team was so far away from where they are right now, there was no way to see the success that was imminent. There was no way to see what has just transpired here in 2021. So don't lose hope, small market fans. Don't lose hope, Seattle. Don't lose hope. We are going to get your team back in Seattle. A guy like myself is going to continue to say it. And I know there are other people as well who want to see you guys get a team back, man. I think the NBA is better when the Seattle Supersonics exist. So I didn't intend for this to be a Seattle Supersonics video, but hey, it's a good enough time to say it. Seattle, they should have their team, and they shouldn't have to wait too long to get it. So yeah, I hope something like that takes place. And there are other players in this vein who come to mind who are just on bad franchises. But the good thing about most of those players is they haven't always been on bad franchises. But when I look at a guy like Bradley Beal, a guy like Karl Town, a guy like Zach LaVine, yeah, they've always been on bad teams. I would throw Devin Booker in there, but the Suns are good this year. So get rid of that conversation early. But yeah, man, that's what I got to say. And I haven't lost sight that Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, and D'Angelo Russell are friends, and that the rumors of them wanting to be on the same team have been going around since they were rookies. So that's not lost upon me at all. I know that exists, and maybe that happens one day. So yeah, man, thank you guys for watching, man. It's been a kind of a challenging day at work, but overall, I'm in good spirits, and yeah, just wanted to come through here and send y'all this little message saying get the Seattle back their team, and hopefully those 3 players, along with everybody else in bad situations, can find their way out of those situations, or those situations can improve, and they can finally be winners like they deserve to be, because those are some talented dudes. My name is BDF44. I'm out.